I would say that we have, if they suggested a name and we just had a personal dislike for that person wouldn't be hired.
And yet, you got hired.
I know.
That's a good one.
While I was watching this season, there's an episode where there's a character talking in the scene about finding that security in your talent. And I'm curious, with all of these amazing things happening in your career, what was that moment for you where you're like, I finally feel secure going into a set, whether it was for this project or another one, just in acting?
It definitely was nerve-wracking. Like, for me, I was very nervous during the first few days of the first season, but this Only Murders has become a comfort place, a safe place for me, and I enjoy it, and so that's where I can walk in with full confidence because I know everyone. I think it's important to be a little nervous and excited when I do something new, and that only helps the performance and for me, so yeah.
You all have such a beautiful chemistry, and I know that Steve and Martin, you all also have been touring together for years. I'm curious with just the similarities that it feels that your characters play in terms of chemistry to the similarities you all have just in your comedic personalities. Do you ever feel that Oliver and Charles kind of sometimes slip through when you're on stage or when you're touring?
Well, we do, the characters do jokes on each other. They have great affection, but they comedically put each other down, and we do that on stage.
I think it actually goes the other way. It's not like Charles and Oliver influence us. It's like our relationship influences Charles and Oliver.
Right.
That would have been a better way to say it, really.
Yeah, but I knew you'd interrupt and then
Yeah.
correct me, and as that was happening, people would switch the channel.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Because the drone of the voice is like a sedative. Go ahead.
This is your everyday Selena, just in between.
You know what? I can't complain. It's the best. It really is. A Hollywood studio. You want us to make a movie of our podcast?
This script is amazing.
Oliver flits around the room a septuagenarian Peter Pan or a male Tinkerbell.
I do not walk that way.
Steve, I wanted to ask you, because there's also a line specifically from Jane Lynch's character this season about just the importance of finding your number one in this industry. And I'm curious, throughout your career, who has been either that person or who have been those people that just continuously keep you grounded?
You know, Marty's been my number one comedy ally for so long. It's almost now 45 years.
Right.
But also, you know, I'm very fortunate, unlike Marty, to have diverse interests. And so I know artists, I know musicians, and they all provide something in my life. And it's so great to have non-show business friends, no offense. But you have a lot of those. We share a lot of friends.
Yes, we do.
Who are not in show business.
Those non-show business friends that
But we have artist friends, and why we really like art. I mean, in the general sense of artists.
I have many varied friends. I only ask one constant of them, and that is that they're worth a lot of money.
Oh my goodness. And just in this season, I mean, there's so many twists, so many turns. And as executive producers, I'm curious, not necessarily in the twists and turns, but in the characters involved in this. There's so many A-list stars. How much do you all get to say, oh, I want to bring in Eva Longoria, or I want to bring in Zach Galifianakis, and how much of it is just the rest of your team on the show that says, hey, we're bringing in these people, and these are your new co-stars this season?
We like their suggestions, meaning the producers' suggestions, the head writers' suggestions. We've always liked their suggestions, but it doesn't really work backwards where you say, I want so-and-so, because then you have to have a role for them. You have to create something. So they're really casting about to see who's available, who's interested, and we've been very, lucky with the people.
But I would say that we have, if they suggested a name and we just had a personal dislike for that person wouldn't be hired.
Mm-hmm. And yet, you got hired.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good
Oh
one.
my goodness. And my last quick question to wrap up. Selena, you are stepping into the Wizards reboot. I loved Alex Russo. I think I, in a weird way, kind of took a bit of her personality growing
I
up.
love that.
So I wanted to ask you, what are you most looking forward to just stepping into her again as an adult?
It was like a dream. I truly feel like it was the place I started, and I'll always be grateful for that time. And I just hope that this new chapter can bring a whole new audience joy the same way that, we did when we were younger.